The wedding night was supposed to be the happiest moment of their lives. Instead, it ended in blood. The honeymoon suite was bathed in soft candlelight, the air thick with the scent of roses and expensive champagne. The walls of the luxury hotel room glowed golden under the dim lighting, and the enormous bed was covered in rose petals, a symbol of love that was about to turn into something far more sinister. Amina sat on the edge of the mattress, her heart pounding against her ribs. The silk of her white wedding dress clung to her skin, suffocating her. Across from her, Faisal, her husband of just a few hours, paced the length of the room like a man possessed. His hands were balled into fists. His breathing was ragged. The warmth and devotion that once filled his eyes had disappeared, replaced by something terrifying. "Tell me it's a lie." His voice was low, barely above a whisper, but filled with so much rage it sent a chill down Amina's spine. Her lips parted, but no words came out. How could she explain? How could she make him understand? Faisal stopped pacing. "Amina." His voice was sharper now, demanding. "Tell me it's a lie." Amina swallowed hard, her throat dry as sandpaper. "Faisal, please, let's talk about this." "Talk?" His voice boomed, echoing off the walls. "You let me marry you under false pretenses? You let me believe." He cut himself off, shaking his head violently as if trying to rid himself of the thoughts clawing at his mind. His entire body trembled. Amina's hands gripped the bedsheets tightly. "It doesn't change anything," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I love you. I have always loved you." But love wasn't enough. Not when his pride had been shattered. Not when the image he had built in his mind of her had been ripped apart. The rage inside him burned hotter, fueled by his upbringing, his culture, his family's words echoing in his head. His mother had warned him to choose a pure woman. His father had spoken about honor. And now, shame. A heavy, suffocating shame wrapped around him like chains. He had waited for this night. Saved himself for this night. And she had lied to him. Amina could see it in his eyes. This wasn't just anger. This was something far, far worse. Her heart pounded. She wanted to reach for him, to tell him that what they had was real, that nothing had changed. But something in her gut told her to stay back. Then he turned to the bedside table. Her breath caught as he reached for something. The glint of cold steel flashed in the dim light. Amina's stomach dropped. "Faisal, what are you doing?" He didn't answer. His fingers gripped the handle of the knife tightly. The same knife they had used earlier in the evening to cut their wedding cake, now twisted into something dark and deadly. His eyes, once filled with love, were now hollow, cold, unforgiving. Amina scrambled back on the bed. "Please? You don't have to do this." Her voice cracked, desperate, but Faisal didn't hear her. Or maybe he didn't care. He took a step forward. Then another. His knuckles turned white around the blade. Amina moved. She ran. She darted toward the door, but he was faster. He grabbed her wrist and yanked her back with a force that sent her crashing onto the floor. Her head hit the edge of the nightstand and stars burst behind her eyes. Bang. Sharp and burning. She barely had time to react before she felt the weight of him on top of her, pinning her down. "You lied to me," he snarled, his breath hot against her face. "You took everything from me." Amina gasped, struggling beneath him. "I didn't take anything from you. Faisal, please." The knife hovered inches from her throat. Her body froze. Her mind screamed at her to fight, to push him away, to do something, but fear had paralyzed her. Tears welled in her eyes. "I love you." For a brief second, his grip loosened. His lips parted. His breathing stuttered. And Amina saw him again. The real Faisal. The man she had fallen in love with. The man who had promised to cherish her forever. But it wasn't enough. His expression hardened again. His grip tightened. And in one swift motion, the room filled with screams. The walls of the honeymoon suite trembled with the sound of Amina's screams. But no one came. The luxury hotel had thick walls, built for privacy, for couples who wanted to escape into their own world. Tonight, that privacy was her curse. Amina's body thrashed beneath Faisal's grip. His weight pressed down on her, pinning her to the floor, the cold knife hovering just inches from her throat. Her heart pounded wildly, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. This can't be real. This was Faisal, her husband, her love, her future. But the man above her wasn't the same person who had whispered sweet promises into her ear just hours ago. That man was gone, replaced by a stranger. A stranger filled with rage. A stranger who wanted her dead. Amina sucked in a sharp breath, her mind racing. Think. Do something. "Faisal, please listen to me," she choked out, her voice raw with terror. I didn't lie to you. I never wanted to hurt you. His grip tightened, his jaw clenching. His eyes burned with betrayal. You made me a fool. His voice was guttural, shaking with fury. I waited for you. I saved myself for you. And you, his hand trembled. You were never mine to begin with. The words cut deeper than the knife ever could. Amina's tears blurred her vision. That's not true, she sobbed. Faisal, I love you. I only wanted to be with you. For a moment he hesitated. His grip loosened, the knife hovering uncertainly between them. His breathing became uneven, like he was fighting a war within himself. Amina saw it. A crack in his rage. A moment of doubt. This is my chance. With every ounce of strength she had, she twisted her body to the side and kicked, hard. Her knee slammed into his ribs. Faisal let out a choked grunt, his grip loosening just enough for her to shove him off. She scrambled to her feet, her heart hammering against her ribs. Her entire body ached, but she couldn't stop. Run. Her mind screamed the word over and over. She bolted for the door. Her hands shook as she fumbled with the lock. Come on, come on. She could feel him moving behind her, hear the scrape of his shoes against the floor. Too late. A force slammed into her from behind. Amina let out a strangled gasp as she was yanked backward, Faisal's arm wrapping around her waist, pulling her away from her only escape. No, no, no. She thrashed wildly, clawing at his arms, but he was stronger. He spun her around, slamming her against the wall. Amina cried out as pain shot through her back. The knife was back, pressed against her side now, just under her ribs. His breathing was ragged, his chest rising and falling rapidly. You're not leaving me, he whispered, his voice shaking. Amina's body went rigid. The knife pressed harder against her skin. Faisal. Her voice was barely above a whisper. Please. He stared at her. His jaw was clenched so tight, his entire body trembled. A war was raging inside him. His love for her. His rage. His shame. His pain. For a moment, it looked like he would let her go. Then, a knock at the door. Loud. Sure. Sir? Ma'am? Is everything all right? Amina's eyes widened. The hotel staff. I'm saved. She opened her mouth to scream, to beg for help, but Faisal's hand flew to her mouth, silencing her. Her muffled cries died against his palm. Her body stilled. Faisal's eyes darted to the door, his face pale, his breath uneven. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then another knock. Sir? We received a noise complaint from the neighboring suite. Silence. Amina's entire body shook. She tried to move, but Faisal's grip was ironclad. If she didn't do something now, she was going to die. The staff member outside sighed. Sir, if there's no response, we will have to use the master key to enter. Faisal's body tensed. His hand trembled against her lips. Amina's heart pounded. She could feel the heat of the blade still pressed against her side. One wrong move, one wrong sound, and he would end her. She stared into his eyes, and for the first time, she saw fear. Not hers. Faisal's breath came in sharp, uneven bursts. The knock came again. Sir, I'm coming in. A loud click as the master key turned in the lock. The door creaked open. Faisal froze. Amina stilled. The staff member stepped inside. And in that moment, Faisal made his choice. The hotel door swung open, revealing a tall man in a crisp uniform, one of the hotel's senior staff members. His eyes narrowed as he stepped inside, scanning the room. Amina's heart slammed against her ribs. She could feel Faisal's grip tightening around her waist, the cold steel of the knife still pressed against her side, hidden from the staff member's view. This is my only chance. The man cleared his throat. Sir, ma'am, we received a noise complaint from your neighbors. Guest reported shouting. Is everything all right? Faisal's fingers dug into her skin. She could feel his body tense, his breath shallow. He's panicking. Amina's pulse raced. She had one shot to get out of this alive. She opened her mouth to scream, but Faisal beat her to it. He forced a tight, strained smile and spoke before she could make a sound. Yes, we're fine, he said quickly. My wife, she just got emotional. It's been a long day. Amina's body went rigid. The hotel staff member's eyes narrowed further. He took a slow step forward. Ma'am? His voice was gentler now, his gaze shifting to Amina. Are you all right? Say something. Scream. Run. Amina's lips parted, but before she could make a sound, she felt Faisal's grip tighten like a vice. The knife pressed harder into her side. A silent threat. One word, and I'll kill you. Amina's throat closed up. The staff member tilted his head, waiting. "Ma'am?" Amina forced herself to look at him. Her lips trembled. Her hands shook. She could feel Faisal's breath against her neck. And then, she nodded. I'm fine." The lie felt like poison on her tongue. The staff member's expression didn't change. He lingered for a moment longer, his gaze flicking between them. Then slowly he gave a curt nod. "If you need anything, dial the front desk." Amina wanted to scream, to grab his arm, to beg for help. But she couldn't. Because as soon as the man turned his back, Faisal whispered against her ear, "Don't even think about it." A shiver ran down her spine. The hotel staff member walked toward the door. His hand reached for the handle. "No, don't leave." Amina's chest tightened. Her legs shook. And just as the door began to close behind him, Amina made her move. She stomped down on Faisal's foot, hard. The impact was sudden, unexpected. Faisal let out a sharp grunt of pain, his grip loosening just enough. Amina ripped herself away from him. She lunged toward the staff member, her hands reaching, her mouth opening to scream. But a force yanked her back. No. Faisal grabbed a fistful of her hair, jerking her backward with brutal force. She let out a strangled cry. The hotel staff whirled around. His eyes widened. "What the?" The knife flashed. Faisal lunged. The staff member barely had time to react before the blade sliced through the air. Amina screamed. The staff member stumbled backward, his hand gripping his arm, blood seeping through his sleeve. Faisal had missed his chest, but not by much. The staff member's shock turned to horror as he looked down at his bleeding arm. Then chaos erupted. "Security!" the staff member bellowed, staggering toward the hallway. "Help!" Heavy footsteps echoed outside. Amina's heart leaped. People were coming. Faisal's face twisted in pure rage. "You ruined everything," he roared, his entire body shaking. Amina saw it in his eyes. This wasn't about love anymore. This wasn't about betrayal. This was about control. And he would rather kill her than lose that control. She had seconds. She had to act now. The knife was still in his hand. Too close. Her mind screamed, "Do something." So she did. Amina grabbed the lamp from the bedside table and smashed it across Faisal's head. Glass shattered. Faisal let out a guttural cry, stumbling back. His grip on the knife weakened. Amina kicked it out of his hand. The blade clattered to the floor. And then, the door burst open. Security. Hotel guests. The staff. People rushed inside. Faisal turned, eyes wild, backing toward the window. "Stay back." Blood dripped down his forehead from where the lamp had hit him. His chest heaved. Amina gasped for breath, her body trembling, her hands bleeding from the broken glass. The crowd closed in. Faisal was trapped. He turned to Amina, his face twisted with hatred. And then, he made a decision. His hand darted to the knife on the floor. Amina's eyes widened in horror. No. And in one final act of desperation, Faisal turned the knife on himself. The entire room screamed. A collective gasp filled the room. The knife plunged into Faisal's stomach. Amina's body froze. Her mind refused to process what had just happened. 1 second he had been cornered, desperate, wild-eyed. The next, blood. So much blood. Faisal's knees buckled, his body slamming against the floor. The knife was still in his hands, his fingers shaking around the handle. His eyes, once filled with rage, were now wide with shock. Like he hadn't believed it himself. Like he hadn't meant to do it. Amina staggered backward, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. He actually did it. The entire room erupted into chaos. "Call an ambulance," someone shouted. "Get a doctor." Security guards rushed forward, but they didn't grab Faisal. They grabbed Amina. She barely registered it, the firm hands on her arms, the voices demanding answers. All she could do was stare at Faisal. He lay there, his hands weakly clutching his stomach, blood pooling beneath him. His breathing was ragged, his face pale. This wasn't supposed to happen. Her lips trembled. "Faisal." His eyes flickered to hers. And in that moment, he smiled. Not a warm smile. Not a loving one. A broken, twisted smile. Like even in his final moments he wanted her to remember this. Amina's chest tightened. She felt like she was drowning. "Ma'am?" A sharp voice yanked her back to reality. She blinked, her vision blurred with tears. The security guard holding her tightened his grip. "Did you do this?" he demanded. "Did you stab him?" Amina's breath hitched. No. No, he did it to himself. She's lying. The voice was weak, but clear. Amina's stomach dropped. Faisal. He was still on the ground, but his lips had curled into that same cruel smirk. His blood-stained fingers pointed at her. She tried to kill me? No. Amina's world collapsed. That's a lie, she cried. He attacked me. He was going to kill me. The guards looked between them, their faces unsure. The staff, the guests, they had seen some of it. But not all of it. Not enough. The only real witnesses were Faisal and her. And now, he was framing her with his last breath. Amina's heart pounded violently. Check the security cameras, she pleaded. You'll see. One of the guards frowned. We will. But until we get confirmation, ma'am, you need to come with us. No. This wasn't happening. She had escaped one nightmare only to fall into another. She tried to pull away, but the guards tightened their grip. You're being detained for questioning. Amina's body shook. Her eyes darted to Faisal. He was fading now, his strength running out. His breathing had become uneven, but his smirk remained. He had lost everything, his control, his pride, his love. But with his last act, he had made sure to destroy her too. Amina felt her legs give out. No one was going to believe her. And as the guards dragged her away, her screams echoed through the hallway. Amina's wrists ached from the cold steel of the handcuffs. She sat in a small, gray-walled police interrogation room, her body shaking from exhaustion and shock. The harsh fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, adding to the nightmare she had just stepped into. How had this happened? How had she gone from a bride to a prisoner in just one night? The door creaked open, snapping her out of her thoughts. A stern-faced detective walked in, followed by a younger officer holding a notepad. The detective took a seat across from her, resting his elbows on the table. His sharp eyes scanned her carefully before he finally spoke. Amina, do you know why you're here? Her throat was dry. She licked her lips, struggling to speak. Yes. But I didn't do anything wrong. The detective tilted his head. That's not what the victim is saying. Victim? Amina's stomach twisted. Faisal. He was still alive. And he was still lying. Amina leaned forward, her hands trembling. Detective, please, you have to believe me. Faisal tried to kill me. He's the one who pulled the knife. He was furious about? Her voice trailed off. She could barely say it. The detective raised an eyebrow. About what? Amina swallowed the lump in her throat. He found out I wasn't a virgin. Silence. The younger officer shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the detective. The detective let out a long breath. So you're telling me, your husband attacked you over that? Amina's voice cracked. Yes. The detective stared at her for a moment, then leaned back in his chair. Faisal tells a different story. Amina's blood ran cold. What did he say? The detective opened a folder and pulled out a printed statement. His voice was calm, too calm as he read. The suspect, Amina Faisal, became hostile on the night of her wedding. When her husband questioned her about her past, she reacted violently, attacking him with a knife. The victim sustained serious injuries while trying to defend himself. Amina's jaw dropped. That's a lie, she shouted, slamming her fists on the table. He's twisting the story. He was the one with the knife. He was the one who tried to kill me. The detective didn't react. He just watched her carefully. Then he slid something across the table. A photo. Amina's heart stopped. It was Faisal lying in a hospital bed, wrapped in bandages. Weak. Broken. But the worst part? The security footage. On the screen she could see the grainy image of the moment she had hit him with the lamp. She had fought back. She had saved herself. But that's not what the police saw. They saw a wife attacking her husband. The detective exhaled. We checked the footage, Amina. It doesn't have audio, but from what we can see, it looks like you were the one who became violent first. Amina felt like the air had been sucked from her lungs. No. You don't understand. I was defending myself. The detective rubbed his temples. That may be true. But right now it's your word against his. And from what we have, it doesn't look good for you. Amina's world collapsed. She felt trapped. Powerless. Faisal had set the perfect trap. Even from his hospital bed he was controlling the story. He had destroyed her reputation. And now, he was about to destroy her life. The detective sighed, closing the file. We'll keep you here until we decide how to proceed. Amina's vision blurred. Tears burned in her eyes. This can't be happening. She had survived the attack. She had survived Faisal. But now, she wasn't sure she would survive the justice system. And as the detective stood up to leave, Amina realized one thing. She needed help. Fast. Amina sat alone in the cold, gray interrogation room, her heart hammering so hard it felt like it would burst through her ribs. She wasn't just fighting for her freedom anymore. She was fighting for her life. The door swung open and a different officer entered. He was younger than the detective, his eyes not yet hardened by years of seeing the worst in people. He sat down across from her, flipping through some paperwork. "Mrs. Faisal, you've been formally detained while we review the case." Amina's throat tightened. Detained? For how long? The officer didn't look up. "Until we gather enough evidence to determine what really happened." Amina's chest burned with frustration. "I told you what happened. I was defending myself." The officer finally looked at her. "And he says he was defending himself." Amina let out a shaky breath. "Did you check the security cameras? The moment he pulled the knife? The way he grabbed me?" The officer pursed his lips. "We're reviewing all footage. But so far, the most damning evidence is that you were seen attacking him first." Amina wanted to scream. Faisal had planned this. Even in his moment of rage and weakness, he had found a way to make sure she would go down with him. Her hands clenched into fists. "I need a lawyer." The officer nodded. "That would be wise." Amina exhaled shakily, her mind racing. She had one person who could help her. Her best friend Layla. Layla was not just a friend, she was a criminal defense lawyer. And right now, she was the only person in the world who could save her. "I need to make a call," Amina demanded. The officer sighed. "You get one." He slid a phone across the table. Amina's fingers trembled as she dialed. Rang. "What? Twice?" Then Layla picked up. "Amina?" Her voice was groggy, confused. "It's 3 in the morning. What's?" "Layla, listen to me." Amina's voice shook. "I'm in jail." A long pause. Then, "What?" Amina swallowed the lump in her throat. "Faisal, he tried to kill me. And now the police think I tried to kill him." Layla's tone turned deadly serious. "I'm coming. Don't say another word to anyone until I get there." The call ended. Amina let the phone fall onto the table. Her entire body felt heavy. The officer stood. "Your lawyer will be here soon. Until then, we'll be processing your case." Processing. That meant fingerprints. Mugshots. Like she was a criminal. Like she was the one in the wrong. Tears threatened to spill, but she blinked them back. No. She wouldn't break. She had survived Faisal. She would survive this too. But she had no idea that Faisal had one last trick up his sleeve. And the moment her lawyer arrived, she would find out. The small holding cell smelled of sweat and stale air. Amina sat on the metal bench, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. The walls felt like they were closing in, but she refused to break. Not now. Not when Layla was on her way. The sound of a door buzzing open made her snap her head up. A guard walked in, nodding at her. "Your lawyer is here." Amina shot to her feet, her heart pounding. They led her to a private consultation room where Layla stood waiting. Her best friend's expression was a mix of concern and fury. What the hell happened? Layla demanded the moment the guard shut the door. Amina's throat tightened. She felt like she had a million things to say, but only 2 words came out. It was Faisal. Layla's jaw clenched. She pulled out a legal pad and pen, dropping into the chair across from Amina. "Tell me everything." And so Amina did. She told her about the wedding night. The rage in Faisal's eyes, the knife, the moment she realized he would rather kill her than let her leave. She told her about the hotel staff, the security footage, and the trap Faisal had set. When she finished, Layla let out a slow, controlled breath. "This is bad." Amina's stomach dropped. "Layla, you believe me, don't you?" Layla reached across the table, gripping Amina's hands. "Of course I do. But right now the evidence is against you. We have to fight this carefully." Amina swallowed hard. "What do we do?" Layla sat back, her sharp lawyer instincts kicking in. "First, I'm getting you out of here. Bail will be set soon, and I'll make sure you don't spend another night in this place." Hope flickered inside Amina. But then Layla's face darkened. "The real problem is Faisal." Amina's pulse spiked. "What do you mean?" Layla exhaled, flipping open a folder. "He's awake, Amina. And he's not just playing the victim, he's pressing charges against you." Amina's world tilted. "What?" Layla nodded grimly. "He told the police that you were the one who snapped. That you tried to kill him when he confronted you about your past. He's painting himself as the innocent husband who was attacked by his violent wife." Amina felt sick. Faisal was still trying to destroy her. Even after everything, he still wanted control. "We need proof," Layla said firmly. "Something that shows Faisal was the aggressor. Something that clears you completely." Amina's mind raced. Then she remembered. Her hands flew to her mouth. "Layla, the hotel cameras. They don't have audio, but my face, you can see the fear. And the way he grabbed me." Layla's eyes lit up. "That might help, but we need more. There has to be something Faisal said or did that we can use against him." Amina's heart pounded. Think. Then it hit her. Her eyes widened. His mother. Layla frowned. "What about her?" Amina sat up straight. "His mother warned me before the wedding. She told me he had a temper. That he wasn't as perfect as he seemed." Layla's lips parted. "And if we can get her to testify, she can prove that Faisal had violent tendencies before this even happened." Amina finished. Layla grabbed her phone. "I'll track her down. If we can get her statement, this case could fall apart." Amina exhaled sharply. For the first time since that horrific night, she felt something she hadn't in days. Oh, 1 week later. Amina stood outside the courthouse, the sun warm on her face. She was free. Layla had won the case. Faisal's lies had crumbled when his own mother testified against him. She had admitted that Faisal had violent outbursts in the past, that his temper had scared her for years. The judge had taken one look at the evidence and thrown out the charges against Amina. Faisal, on the other hand, he had no case left to stand on. And now, Amina was finally free. She turned to Layla, tears in her eyes. "Thank you." Layla smiled. "You saved yourself, Amina. I just made sure the world saw it." Amina breathed in deeply. For the first time in forever, she was finally at peace.